What the job is in North Carolina, if you're going to be called in for an interview. Now what I'm going to try to do again is go through Dr. Olmsted's summary of success. Now these are keys to successes. And those successes, a lot of them relate to how you are going to be successful in landing a state agency job that are out there. And some of them fit into how do you get that job, how do you just need to be thinking about life in general, which I'm sure you didn't come here to get any advice on, but okay. Always practice the golden rule. You know, when you're looking at your peers and scientists, you need to be thinking about treating other folks the way you would have them to treat you. That will always make a big difference. And you can always get by, because it's amazing some of the things when you have discussions and interviews, what you can glean out of some of those things. But practicing the golden rule is a good one, particularly when you're talking about peers. You know, and if you can get your enemy, which you often will have once you land these jobs, angry fisherman or sometimes an angry consultant, if you can get them to respect you for the information or the integrity that you have, then that's part of the golden rule. You've got to respect the elite. We don't always agree, but we do understand that it's important to be respectful. Never compromise your integrity or honesty. One of the things that you will deal with in state government a lot of times is this animal called a politician. I'm thinking if you are those, but anyway, you have to deal with politicians, and they look at things a little bit differently than we do. But the thing that we stress to our field biologists, and that you will always hear, is that you need to do good science. Your job is to do good science. Give the administrators, which is what I am, the scientific background, the scientific information, with the understanding that when an administrator gets that good science, good, solid science, they have to deal with this other animal. And this other animal doesn't necessarily respect science, and there's other social and political issues that have to be dealt with. But we expect our biologists to do the science without, we expect our biologists to do the science without even thinking about what the ramifications might be on the political and social side. Now, that excludes political and social projects, but on the basic scientific projects, leave that part out. Let us deal with that with the understanding is that you may not, we may not get, that recommendation may not be the one that gets there, but at least we have the good science to make the decision on. Maintain balance. Maintain balance, and a lot of that is in your life. You're going to find that as you get involved in this field and you're excited about this field and you're having fun in this field of fishery science, that it can become a major part of your life. It can actually sometimes consume your life. Don't let it consume your life. Have fun, maintain your balance, maintain your personal sanity and your family sanity. That's a very important thing to do. As you get higher up through organizations, whether it's federal government, state government, or whatever, you'll find that you spend more weekend time oftentimes dealing with issues than you do when you first hire in as a biologist. So, and as a biologist, when you first hire in, all you want to do is go out and work, because you enjoy it so much. Well, you do that for a solid year. When you get into a state position or a government position, you'll get worn down real quickly. And then when you get worn down, then you're not any good at all. So have a balance in what you're doing. Networking. You're doing networking now. Attending American Fisheries Society meetings is networking. Stay together with your peers. Communicate. Get involved in committees. Get involved in organizations. And keep those lines of communication open so that when you run into an issue, because many of you out here at one day is going to wind up being in my shoes. You're going to be an administrator of a program of some level. And at that point, you're going to need all the network and have all the people you can ever want to know to help you out. Because there will be a question you're going to have a problem with. Somebody else has probably dealt with it in some way. So use your network. Hard work and persistence. Walker's not in here now. He's the one that got me in here today. Many people that already know me, I'm not the brightest light bulb in the bunch, but I'm smart enough to surround myself with bright light bulbs. And so that's a good thing. Where I got and where you can do a lot is hard work and persistence. You're not going to be an expert in everything, but just stay at it. Don't let that bother you that you're not an expert at anything. You're an expert at something. That's why you're here. but stay at it, be persistent. It took me 3 times before I was hired as a technician for the North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission. One of the things that helped me was I was married to a North Carolina girl, and she wanted to move back real bad, so I stayed persistent in North Carolina. I didn't apply anywhere else. I applied only in North Carolina. Of course, part of the time, too, right before that, I was a wildlife officer in Tennessee. And I was rather excited about the fisheries job, because I had trained to be a fisheries scientist. And in Tennessee, you actually have to have a 4-year degree at a minimum to be an officer. And there were several people that had master's degree in fisheries and wildlife, and so I knew my chances there were very good. So, but you have to be persistent about it. What I was told later on was that I scared a lot of people. Back then, I was a little bit smaller, and not as overweight as I am now. And said several biologists were a little bit smaller, and they said they actually were scared of me because I was real excited and gung-ho and ready to go, but I scared them so bad. So I backed off of that on my 3rd one and finally got the job. Have fun, enjoy your work. You need to be able to enjoy your work and have fun in this field. But if you haven't figured it out now, unless there are very few things you're not going to make a lot of money. But what you're going to do is you're going to wake up in the morning and you're going to not feel like, oh my God, I got to go into work today. You're going to wake up in the morning and you're going to say, what new challenge is going to face me today? What am I going to be able to help with today? Or am I just going to finally be able to get out into the field and do something fun? In my job, I don't get to do that a lot. Pay attention to mentors. There's a lot of mentors that you have. Probably every one of you have, probably if you're a graduate student, you have at least 3 of them. Pay real close attention to what they know and what they're telling you. Get involved in organizations. Flexibility, don't limit yourself to one place. When you get ready to go out and look for a job, you may want to live in northeastern England or Canada or wherever, but you may not start out there. Don't limit yourself to start with. There are going to be a lot of jobs available with retiring and that sort of thing, but they may not be where you want to be. And if you try to wait for where you want to be, you might miss the boat. So be flexible on that. Be knowledgeable. Know who you're applying for. Know about the organization. If you're going to apply for a private job, if you're going to apply for AFS Canada or God forbid, the U.S. government, just kidding. Know the organization that you're going to come to. Look at their websites. If you're going to work for a state game and fish agency, know where their funding comes from. And know that you probably don't want to work on snail darters or some other day and be a preservationist, that you don't hunt, you don't fish, or don't care about hunting and fishing. That's fine if you don't, but pay attention to where you're going to pay an interview. Believe it or not, some people don't do that. So pay attention to where the money comes from to pay for what's going on. That's very critical. Look on the website of who you're applying for. Learn a little bit about what they've got. Show some interest in them. And finally, get involved with the American Fisheries Society. Get involved, or let me back that up. I encourage you to get involved with the American Fisheries Society or any other society of similar field that fits your suitability. That's where you network. That's where you know people. That's where administrators are going to go. When you apply for a job and you put down on there, say, I know such and so, they know who they are, how to get up to them, and they will make contacts. And something I heard at a professor who won an award at the fisheries management section meeting the other day by Albert Schweitzer. Success does not lead to happiness, rather happiness leads to success. Be happy in what you do